The big question, when will the next crypto bull run finally start? It's a long bear market, and what can we expect? Now, let's pretend that we know, right? Nobody knows, let me already tell you that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull up a couple of charts to see what they say and to see if a lot of charts tell me the same thing, so that if you know what you can expect, it's maybe a little motivational for you as well to not give up in this boring market right now. So welcome to the FOMO Factory. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Smack that like button, turn on the bell notification, and let's get right into it. So at the moment, Bitcoin is steady chilling at around $27,000 and nothing crazy is happening right now. A couple of days ago, we went below 26. We went up again towards 27.5, and we are now kind of somewhere in the middle. So nothing really crazy is happening. Although we do have some resistance now at the 100 weighted moving average, which was support for a long time. As you can see, basically since January, since we really found the breakout of Bitcoin, it's been above that moving average, right? We went below it one time, got right back up. Now we are below it for quite a while already, and it turns out that it's now actually functioning as resistance instead of support. So on a smaller time frame, Bitcoin has some trouble breaking that, and it might be the reason for Bitcoin to, you know, soon see another move to the downside. But this $26,500 looks to be pretty decent support, but that's the shorter term time frame. What about the longer term time frame? So let's put it on the weekly first. Let's take a look at this. So what I did is I marked off the Bitcoin halvings. That's one indicator, because so far the Bitcoin halving is always suggesting that a new good rally for Bitcoin is coming. And if we look at the blue lines, these are the halvings. The red line is a year before the halving, right? So what do we see in the what did we had in the past? Well, at the moment that we have the halving, it takes us like 2 months to go sideways or a little down, and then the real parabolic move is happening. Right here as well, we had the halving, sideways for a month or two, and then the real parabolic move is happening. A year before the halving is the red line. We also went up a year before the halving. So a year before the halving until the halving, overall we went up, but we also came down back here as well again, right? So although we went from 5K towards 13, almost 14K, we went all the way back down to 4K as well. So overall, nothing really crazy is happening. And that's also always the case with these pre-halving years, which we are in right now, by the way, that the market is very volatile, as in it can wreck both sides. Like if you're bullish on Bitcoin, it can eventually wreck you. And if you're bearish on Bitcoin, it can wreck you as well, right? So I don't know. We are now in that year, right? And so far it has been wrecking the bears. I mean, we went up from 15K towards 30K to round it all up. So we had a pretty decent run so far. Let's see what the rest of the year's taking us. And before this halving, we did absolutely fantastic as well. We went from around $200, give or take, all the way to 600, 700, right? But we came back down here as well. And then the real parabolic move started. So you can say that so far, after the halving, you know, we're doing good. So when is the next halving scheduled? Well, it's not sure yet, but it's around March, April, maybe May 2024, probably March so far. And that should suggest that, you know, Bitcoin will do good again 2 months later, so May, maybe June, July 2024. Right? That's what this chart is telling, and this is just purely based off the 4-year cycle that has been in play so far, right? And as long as it's still playing out, yeah, who am I to say that this time is different until proven otherwise, right? And so far it is not proven otherwise. This rally looks a lot like what we had back here. What we had back here, what we had back here, right? So it's so far it lines up. Now let's take a look at a couple of other things. So that's suggesting mid 2024. So that's a year from now, right? But by the way, what happens in that year? Yeah, we kind of discussed that already. We had like, you know, we are here right now if we want to compare it to 2015. And here you can see as well, right? Bitcoin, it rallied from its bottom of $170 all the way to 320, but it came back down again as well to make a double bottom. And then we went up again, and then we went down again, and then we went up again. It's like it's going all places. Overall, the trend was already up, right? But now the trend is also, it's going up. Like, if it goes up and down, who am I to now preach on the channel about buying Bitcoin here, while there's a good chance that we also go down here again? I do think that the bottom is in, but it doesn't mean that we cannot go lower than where we are right now, of course, right? So these years are, like I said, very volatile. If we are now here somewhere, right? Yeah, you can go up a little more. Right, but maybe we already been here. Maybe we are here right now, and it could be that the rest of the year is just slowly going down. Right, it's definitely possible. We had already quite of a run, right? So I don't expect too much of this year, but keep staying tuned to the channel. Tomorrow I will be dropping a video about when I think it is time to buy, especially altcoins, and I'm gonna also show you a lot of different indicators, tools, on-chain data that you can use for yourself, so you have some good indicators that show you like, oh, now it looks like a good time to buy to me. So let's take a look at another chart, and that's the ROI after the cycle peak, right? So here at 1, we are the green line, all right? That's now. Red was 2015 and the orange line was 2019, 18, 19, right? And the one where we started, that was our previous cycle peak of that cycle. So in this case, $69,000, right? So we started one, and then we can see how the bear market goes. And I'm gonna remove the blue one. That's 2011 was the first real bull run. Yeah, things were kind of different back then, of course, less liquidity and all of that. If you now take a look what Bitcoin is doing, it's looking pretty similar, right? If the bottom for Bitcoin is not in, because these lines, the orange and the red one, they go to the bottom where Bitcoin bottoms, right? So the orange line, they here in after 362 days, Bitcoin bottomed. With the red line, 2015, it bottomed at 406 days. For the people that say that the bottom is not in yet, I don't know. We are now sitting at 557 days. If the bottom is not in, then this bear market is significantly longer than the other bear markets, right? And especially by the time that we do see a new bottom, yeah, how far in the bear market are we then, right? That's kind of nonsense. If you look where we bottomed, that's here in November. No, it was here. Here's where we bottomed. So it's quite funny to see that, you know, we are actually time-wise on average, right? It's taking a lot, it's taking slightly shorter than 2015 and slightly longer than 2018, right? Or the other way around. So it makes a lot of sense, right? It doesn't make a lot of sense for us to find a new bottom. If we pull this 3 months out, you'll see this, right? Here, they already rallied off their bottom. And if we take it to the peak, it also makes a lot of sense, right? Because we are now not doing anything really different. The only difference is that if you look at this green line, right, compared to the others, the other bear markets went a lot lower time-wise, right? But price-wise, but time-wise, we are really perfectly on track. But look what the other, you know, cycles did. They found their bottom, right? And after they found their bottom, it was pretty much going sideways for a very long time. Here's where we bottomed in 2018, right? Since that moment, we went up, right? But we basically went sideways for 1.5 years. And in this cycle, the red line, 2015, we did pretty much the same thing. We bottomed, but we were around that bottom for a long time. we got a little back up slowly, and we stayed there for a long time. Got back up slowly, right? And then the parabolic move really begins, right? And the parabolic move really began at 1,000 days, give or take, after the previous peak, 1,000 days. So if that's the case, we are now sitting at, like I said, 500 days. So when, you know, if we add like 450 days, 500 days, let's say that's 15 months from where we are right now, right? It's May, June, July, August. Well, June, July, August, really to go parabolic, lines up quite good, you know, with the chart that we just saw, right? So it's just an average, right? I mean, these are no charts that can predict what's going to happen. There is no chart that predicts what's going to happen, by the way. That doesn't exist, and it will never exist. Well, you never know, but probably not. But we work with data, right? And you can get a little, you know, good information out of that. So that suggests kind of the same thing. The logarithmic regression band is also a very interesting chart. So if you look at the logarithmic regression band, you'll see that every, you know, at the bull market, we are on top of the red band, or we are at least at the upper band. And when we go down, we go into the green band, the lower band, and we stay there. We went here in November 2011, and we got out of it in February 2013. Right, slightly later and slightly sooner, so 1.5 years. Here we went into the regression band, you know, beginning 2015. We came out of it May 2017. So we have 1.5 years, we have 2.5 years, and here we went in it November 2018. We got out of it November 2020, so 2 years. Right, so overall the average is that we stay there for like 2 years. Right, and then we really start the parabolic run. I mean, although we stay there, we do go up. Don't get me wrong. Once we got in here, the price was sitting at $220. Once we got out of it, the price was sitting at almost $2,000, right? But that's because the band is moving up. But that wasn't even the parabolic run yet. So overall, we stayed there for like 2 years. When did we enter that zone? We entered that zone in May 2022, right? So if we add 2 years on average on that, May 2024, it also quite lines up with, you know, halfway 2024, right? It doesn't mean we can't go lower, right? It doesn't mean we cannot go lower. But overall, it says like, okay, probably coming year will be very boring. But coming years where you don't want to give up. Coming years where you want to pay attention, right? That's where you want to do your research when the dollar cost at the good levels. So again, stay tuned to the channel. I'll be there every day. I have no life. It doesn't matter. And once we get that parabolic run, it will pay off, right? So you want to know what to expect when it comes to that. Let me check. Is there something else? Year-to-date ROI. Let me see. Let me remove everything. And this is 2023. So this is the pre-halving year. We also had the pre-halving year in 2019. And we had the pre-halving year in 2015. Right? So how does that look? Well, this is why we started. Right? And overall, in every one of these pre-halving years, right, we went, well, 2015, we did not went higher than where we are right now. 2019, though, we did. Right, so also, we are quite on an average level when you look at that, right? We are here right now. Look at the right side of the screen. We are quite perfectly in the middle. So when it comes to that, this is not predicting anything about the next bull run, but it is interesting to see that we are good on track, right? And it could definitely be that we go lower, of course. It could definitely be that we go higher. Overall, I think it could be pretty choppy, right? Sideways, up, down, overall sideways. And then in mid 2024, we really go like crazy. So there are a couple of charts that can help us with predicting that. But overall, my thesis is that that's going to happen. And it's very simple. Basically, also this chart. I mean, if you take the bull runs from the top to the top to the top, yeah, it's easy. Basically, if you look at this bull run right here where we topped out, and we go to this bull run right here, how long did that take? This is exactly 4 years, December 2013 till December 2017. Then we had the next stop in November 2021. So also 4 years. So if we add another 4 years to that, it's December 2025, right? It's like, I think most people expect the bull run to top out in 2025. The end of that, you know, could be a month later, 2 months sooner, but, you know, give or take, something like that. So that's what I expect for the crypto bull run to happen. Now, when it comes to altcoins, how does that look? Let's take a look at that. So let me remove this stuff right here. So altcoins did quite the same thing, right? Altcoins topped out a little bit later than that though, right? But they are running a little bit behind on Bitcoin, and that's okay. Now, when did the altcoin parabolic run really start? Well, if we are now where we were in 2019, we should be somewhere here in this area maybe. Maybe we are still here because altcoins are really running behind this time on Bitcoin. But let's say here, right? Or here, could also be the case. Still the possibility that altcoins will have a very boring time for the coming year, right? Very boring, right? Here in March 2020, we really started the run for altcoins, and it lasted like, well, 10 months, give or take. Right. Now, what happened between there and a year before that? Again, we went up a lot, and we came down a lot again. And everybody got wrecked. Right. Now, nothing really happens. Overall, if you put this on, you'll see that we are still in this falling wedge. Right. If we zoom in, you can see we tried to break out. We didn't do that. We're still in that falling wedge. So altcoins, extremely bearish for now still. That's just what it is. Right, but overall, if you zoom in, you can say that we are now going sideways for a year, right? Since basically June 2022. Right, we are now at the same level as where we were in June 2022. But overall, again, as long as we're still in this trend, it's not sideways, it's down. So let's wait a little bit because this needs a couple of weeks and then it finally plays out. But overall, I do think that altcoins are in the same camp as Bitcoin, where we could see that they will do very well halfway next year, give or take. Right, and what happens until then is the time for us to be patient, to wait, and when we see that the time is really right, we strike. That's what we want. And just one thing for the people that feel like, oh, when I ape into altcoins right now, I've been preaching about this quite a lot, but you know, again, it's in this falling wedge and it's at the resistance of the wedge, right? If you want to buy the resistance, go ahead. I'm not doing that. I want to buy the support, right? Or at least when it breaks out and the resistance is support, can also be. Then you're buying at the same level as the people right now buying the resistance. But then you are a lot safer, so you don't miss out. And well, you know, you get the deal. There's one indicator that I use a lot when it comes to buying, and that's the stochastic RSI, and I use that on the weekly. So that's this indicator right here. It's a momentum indicator basically, and whenever it's high, it suggests like, yo, watch out. And whenever it's low, it says, oh, okay, maybe you should buy. Now it's low. So you could be like, oh, why you're not buying then? Well, again, this is more important to me. But also, if you look at this, for example, right? The total 3 on the weekly, right? Whenever it's low, right, like here, for example, we are just entering the oversold territory, right? So it's low, but you don't really want to buy it right away, because here also we just entered the oversold territory, right? That was where we are right now. Well, we are in it for a while, so that's here. So that's this candle, right? Now, you could say you can buy the top of the candle or the downside. Let's take it from the middle, to be fair, right? If you did that, you still would have lost on this stochastic momentum indicator, at least, right? You still would have lost around 40%. You could have got a better entry if you would just let this ride out. So that we are now oversold, maybe you'll hear some people talk about that. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the best time to buy, right? We can go sideways on this. And in the meantime, it can happen, like you see over here, a lot more examples, that we go down way more, right? So wait for this to retest as well. But overall, when the bull run for altcoins, yeah, around the same period. It's around the same period. I mean, if you overlay Bitcoin on this chart right here, so new price scale, and let's make it a logarithmic thingy, you will see this, right? There we go. The orange line is Bitcoin, right? And you see that whenever Bitcoin really had its parabolic run from the bottom to the top, you just see that altcoins are basically following that, right? Bitcoin here went to the top in March 21 and altcoins did that in May 21. So 2 months later, give or take, right? And whenever Bitcoin went up, well, altcoins pretty much followed the same direction. So I know you probably see these pictures where people they have like, how's the cycle working? Well, first Bitcoin runs, then Ethereum runs, then the high caps, and then the small caps. Yeah, overall, if you look at this chart right here, it's not really a big difference. It's not really a big difference. Altcoins lag a little bit on Bitcoin right here as well. Bitcoin topped December 2017. Altcoins topped January 2018. Right, so it's like, it's not really. So if you feel like, okay, I want to know about the altcoin bull run, man, whenever I talk about Bitcoin, altcoins are pretty much doing the same thing when it comes to that. So that's when I think the bull run is about to start. Mid 2024 can give you a specific date. I wish it was that easy, but anybody trying to do that, you can, yeah, I don't know, suggest that they are a complete moron, because, sorry, no offense, but that's not possible, of course. But yeah, in my opinion, this yellow line, give or take, and please come back to the channel every day, but especially in a year, this yellow line is where I think bull run starts. So let's make that white. That's my bull run line for now. All right. Again, give or take. I can be 2 months off. I give myself that room to breathe, but this should be the area. So that's my perspective. Let me know if you have other thoughts. I would like to hear somebody come up with an argument about what they think, because there are some smart ass people in this community, and I'm really curious about your opinion as well. Please like the video. Stay tuned for tomorrow's video. I will give you multiple indicators that again show you when to buy altcoins and Bitcoin in the meantime, basically. Right? So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you then.